So, top 3 ways on how to purchase properties at auction coming up. Welcome back, my name is Marco, I'm a property investor, developer and mentor. Today we're talking all about auctions and I'm going to go over 3 ways on how to buy property at auction. Yes, that's right, 3 ways. A lot of investors think there's only one way to buy property at that auction, but I'm going to give you 3 ways here today on how you can consider buying property at auction. So first of all, let's talk about what is a property auction. Well, a property auction is simply where properties are sold under auction conditions, and then what this typically means is once the hammer has dropped, then contracts have been exchanged. So, you have legally exchanged contracts and then you're supposed to complete within 28 days normally, but this can be less or this can be more, so do read the legal pack for that particular property. So you've essentially already exchanged on a property if you are the successful bidder on a property. So at auction we have reserve and guide price. Now the guide price is where the property starts off at, but the reserve price is normally not more than 10% of the guide price. So, if you're the only person to bid on this property and therefore the bids don't increase, well, maybe the property has not met its reserve and therefore it's technically not going to sell in the room. But again, don't let this put you off, and I'll come on to why very shortly. So we've spoken a bit about auctions, the fact that you're legally exchanged on the property once that hammer is down. We've talked about guide and reserve prices. So let's come on to 3 ways on how to buy property at auction. And we're going to address this in a chronological order. So first of all, it's pre-auction. Yes, that's right. You can actually buy property pre-auction. And what I mean here is you don't have to wait for that property to go live in the auction, live in the room, as they say. You can actually submit an offer on this property before it goes live. Obviously with the intent of securing this before the property goes in the room and then it's open to everyone else. Now, Marco, why would I consider doing this? Well, let's say this property is exactly what you're looking for. It's in your target area. It ticks the box for your strategy and you're really keen to acquire it. And maybe you're more confident on your figures than someone else because you know the area. Well, actually, you could put in a really good offer, an offer that's maybe above guide price because again, you're very confident on your exits for this particular deal. And you could hope to put in maybe a higher offer to secure this property and maybe persuade the vendor to consider selling this before the auction goes live. So again, it's a really good tool to have in your arsenal because I always look at auctions and I think, well, maybe here are the 2 or 3 lots that I'm interested in pursuing with. And if I'm really interested in it, I will submit an offer before the auction even goes live and try and secure that property before it goes in the room, because once it goes in the room, you're essentially risking it then because obviously there's more competition and the bids could increase and someone else could win that auction. So do consider putting forward an offer pre-auction. Now there are some properties that are not allowed to be sold pre-auction. A lot of the council properties that they offload and that they sell cannot be sold pre-auction. They have to go legally, they have to go into the auction, into the room, because the council have to get the best possible price for a property and they're unlikely to get the best possible price pre-auction. So they've got to open it up to the public and give them the chance to be bidding on this property. So let's come on to number 2, which is the most common, which is during the auction, in the room itself, so during the live auction. Obviously this is the most common way of purchasing a property at auction. So if you're willing to risk it, wait until the auction starts. Of course you have to do your registration before this and at least a couple of days before the auction starts, because normally the auction house has to verify you as a qualified purchaser. So do your registration at least 48 hours before the auction starts. And essentially you're simply bidding once the property is available, and you can do this online. Sometimes you can do it over the phone, you can do it by proxy, and if it's one of the auctions that are still in the room, a post-COVID auction where gradually we're getting back into the room, which I quite like, it's got a good vibe, a good feel to it. Of course you raise your hand and you bid on a property that way. So there are lots of ways to bid on property when the auction is live. Nowadays, most of the time it is online, so you log into your portal and you can submit a bid. It's very easy. It's like being on eBay really, you're just placing a bid. So it's a little riskier waiting until the auction is live because obviously you've got competition, or you will most likely have competition if it's a good property at a good price point. But that being said, you could get an absolute bargain on lots. Maybe you've got a few lots that you've done a bit of research on and you're just seeing how it goes goes in the room. And let's just say, for example, one of these lots has really little interest, and you think, gosh, at this current bid, the reserve's already been met, so it's selling, but at this current bid, it's an absolute bargain. Higher risk, but you can put your hand up or click on the mouse and submit your bid, and maybe you'll get a really good offer. So this works when you're familiar with buying at auction. B, when you've fully read the legal pack and you know what you're getting yourself into. But C, if this property actually ticks the box for you, you know the area inside out, and maybe you know something that other people don't know. So let's move on from the obvious buying in the room to the strategy that I absolutely love, and this is one I recommend to all investors, which is post-auction. So number 3 is buying post-auction. So this is, as the name suggests, where the auction has finished, the property has gone unsold for whatever reason. Maybe there were no bids, maybe it didn't reach its reserve and therefore it did not sell in the auction. So the lot is now what's termed unsold, the property has gone unsold at auction. Now, what the auction is now trying to do is, they try and generate interest and have conversations with interested parties, potential buyers, to sell this property post-auction. They don't want to lose this potential sale. They want to try and match this with someone who's coming in to buy the property, maybe at a lower price, but again, they're going to make the sale, and maybe the vendor would hope the property would sell at auction, is now very disappointed. Maybe they're a bit more open to allowing their property to be sold at a lower price post-auction, just to move on this purchase and to get rid of this property. So here's a strategy that I really like, and I'm going to share it here to everyone watching my channel. It's a really good strategy. It doesn't really involve that much time as well, and I'm going to share it right here. Please do consider doing this. It's really good. It's made me at least 6 figures so far. So here's what to do. An auction's coming up in your local area. First of all, diarise the auction, put it in your diary. Watch the auction. Now, as I'm watching the auction and I look at the lots go unsold, I'll maybe pick 2 or 3 properties that I think, could work. I know the areas really well. I know what needs to be done to turn this property around, either to make it mortgageable or either just to sell it. And what I'll do is I'll have a conversation. So once the auction is finished, I'll call up the auction house and I'll say, I noticed these 2 or 3 properties went unsold. What do we need to get these across the line? I'll suggest a figure of what I can do. Obviously, most auction purchases are cash or with bridging finance. And for those of you that don't know what bridging finance is, I've got a very good video that explains the A to Z on bridging finance. I'll link to it in the description. Here's a picture of the thumbnail. Do watch this afterwards. And I'll just have a very, open chat with the agent and say, this is where I'm at. Let me know if this is acceptable, and we can secure the property. I can pay the deposit today. I can put down that 10% today, and let's get this purchase happening. So I've had really good success doing this. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't happen every auction, maybe every few auctions, and of course that offer that I'm submitting or that price that I'm putting forward to the agent after the auction, I'll be honest with you, it's a low price. But if you don't ask, you don't get. And put yourself in the vendor's shoes. Imagine you ever had a property go unsold at auction. You're really disappointed. You were hoping this property would sell, and maybe you're willing to accept a lower price just to get this property off the books, for peace of mind, for clarity, and to move on to the next thing. So you have absolutely nothing to lose by putting in a low offer post-auction, a low cash offer, proof of funds, to show you're serious. And what's better, you can sell them that 10% deposit on the very same day, non-refundable deposit, to show how serious you are as a credible investor. So these are the 3 ways to purchase property at auction. Just to recap, we've got pre-auction, before the auction starts, during the auction, so in the room itself or online, and then finally the one that I absolutely love and had really good success with is post-auction, where we're putting in offers after the auction is finished for those properties that went unsold. So I hope this video has been useful. I'm actually going to do a live auction video at some point in the future, where I'm going to record my laptop. We're going to record a live auction, and I'm going to be showing you me bidding on properties and what I think on these particular deals and how auctions work. And within this video, I'm going to give you some really good tips on how to acquire properties at really good price points at auction. So for those of you that know and watch my channel, every Tuesday and Thursday I release a full-length video, so do subscribe for that. So I hope you've got value from today's video, and I wish you all the very best in your property investing journey. Take care.